It's KEVELUP. Welcome to my channel. I'm here to provide you as much value as I possibly can, talking about some of the experiences I've been through and how you can use your experiences and your story to create a life that you are happy to wake up to. So before I get into this video, like and subscribe to my channel. Trying to get to at least 10 subscribers. I'm at what, 2 or 3 right now? So it is what it is. Help me grow this channel. Get me at least to 10 subscribers, and then we'll work our way up to get to 100, then 1,000, then 1,000,000. But I can't do it without your help. So let's get it. What I want to talk about with you today is how to essentially go from the streets to the C-suites, from the block to the boardroom, from the corner to the corner office. This message and this video is for the folks out there who grew up in the neighborhood, right? Like, you didn't grow up coming up with your parents and who put you in private schools, a neurosurgeon or a doctor as a father or a mom. You grew up around black and brown folks, much like myself. You grew up in areas that, you were around different elements of people, diverse communities, but the element of people that was around you wasn't always on an academic path necessarily, but they all weren't always on a street path as well. So taking these experiences culminated from your upbringing, an upbringing that wasn't a suburban upbringing. You might have grew up in the inner cities, or you might have grew up in the city where it wasn't as bad as the projects, but you might have lived in a single family house, but you still saw things coming and going from home because that was just the nature of your environment, right? You might have saw things, you might have saw violence, you might have been exposed to all types of criminality, but at the same time, there was smart people around you, there were go-getters around you, there were ambitious people around you, so, different types of elements. That's the folks I'm talking to, because that's how I came up, that's how I grew up. For as long as I can remember, I've always been this curious, inquisitive kid, always trying to think beyond the confines of my environment. And what that translated to was, at the age of 12, 13, getting involved in, reading books about stocks and investments. The first book I ever read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's one of the books that propelled me into a life of wanting to do business, wanting to be an entrepreneur. While in high school, I got recruited to be a part of a business camp at Columbia University, where I spent about 2 to 3 weeks in a program called Youth About Business that simulated what it was to be a corporate executive and make decisions related to big mergers and acquisitions. This was a nationwide program where students were being flown in from different parts of the country to be a part of this business camp at Columbia University. Invaluable experience. And it really set a path where it's like, this is where I really want to go. I want to do business at a high level. I want to be an investor. I want to be an entrepreneur. I just want to do business, right? So this is around the age of 13, 14 when I got interested, about 15, 16 when I went into business camp. Wasn't an A student throughout high school. I guess I, was just barely getting by, if you will, right? I did well enough to pass, but I wasn't putting my all into it. I just knew it was something about the system of schooling that didn't feel like me. I felt like it was a contrived system that wasn't necessarily what I wanted to accomplish in life. I wanted to do big things, and high finance and business, from what I read and what I was understanding at that young age, you didn't really need the formal education of grade school to accomplish those things. They don't teach you anything about that stuff anyway. They don't teach you how to balance a checkbook. They don't teach you how to budget. They don't teach you anything related to personal finance, let alone high finance, right? Portfolio management, mutual funds, hedge funds, how to build a stock portfolio and where to invest your money and what equities and whatnot. So long story short, that was my inroads into the business world. Fast forward, I go to college. I went to an HBCU, Delaware State. When I was there, I met my girlfriend, who's now my wife. To make some extra money, we threw parties. And we threw some of the biggest parties that the state of Delaware has ever seen. I'm talking about hundreds to maybe thousands of people showing up at any given moment to our parties on an average Friday, Saturday night. And then I also did a bunch of different tours, right? So I did college spring break tours to Atlanta, and I led a group of guys who coordinated and promoted these tours, and it was huge turnouts. So that was another foray into the business world, but a little bit more marketing and branding and putting myself out there. Fast forward, graduate from college. Same year I graduate, within 2 months, my dad passed away, kidney cancer. And that was a valuable lesson to me. It's like, yo, life is short. Didn't expect this to happen. Pops passed away. What the hell am I gonna do now? I'm just a recent graduate. So as a recent graduate, instead of saying I'm just gonna go into finance, I wanted to take some time to explore who I was. And a light bulb went off in my mind, and I wanted to start a company called Royal Culture to honor my African heritage, right, being Nigerian American. So I started this company called Royal Culture in 2012. And in 2012, it was a dashiki, which is a traditional West African garment. I turned it into streetwear, and I was able to grow the company within about 8 to 12 months. I was able to take it from just being this small clothing line, being sold out of, in Soho, out the trunk with my two friends, to being bi-coastal and being an entrepreneur, having, at least 4 to 5 different employees, a warehouse facility, everything, right? So we were creating these clothes, and Sarah Jessica Parker from Sex and the City was the first celebrity to wear it. And then after that, it was a domino effect, right? You got people like Zendaya, you had people like Dej Loaf, you had people like Angela Simmons, even folks like Beyonce and Chris Brown were wearing similar garments based off of the vibe that we curated and created. So this thing really took off. And I never paid a celebrity $1 to endorse the brand. So Royal Culture took off, and that was yet another experience where I was a business owner who marketed and built the product, sold it online, made hundreds of thousands of dollars. I wasn't even 22 yet, or 23 years old at the time. Fast forward from that, the business started to falter because I'm not a designer at heart. Never really cared for clothes to the degree that I want to design them for a living. It was just an idea that I got the inspiration to launch after my dad passed away. So Forever 21 now comes in and starts biting our designs, as they usually do, and selling it for a third of the price. So at that point, it's like, yo, we were riding a wave, but I got to get a job now. That's when I shifted and started working in the media business. I started working in the media business in 2016, working for some of the biggest agencies in the world. I guess, my creative and brand building days led me to that, into the world of digital media. And fast forward now, I'm an emerging executive for a company worth almost $100 million. And I'm responsible for at least 30% of the company's revenue, right? Over the past 2 years, I've generated over $30 million for the companies that I worked for and worked with as someone who sells branded partnerships, right? Working with brands and bridging them with creators and talent and media publishers, and creating digital campaigns that you can be exposed to in real life and on digital platforms. And I sold over $30 million worth of media in the past 2 years. I say all this to say I'm very credible when it comes to speaking about going from nothing to something, taking a story and a seed of an idea and making it pop. Right? Over the past 10 years, I've lived 2-3 lives, and I've had success in all realms of business endeavor that I just mentioned, right? I've felt success, I've had success, I've tasted it. And now I'm at a different pinnacle of my career, right? So in corporate America, what I just displayed for you is an unorthodox story, right? How I wound up here. I didn't wind up here the traditional route of going to school, majoring in communications and marketing, and saying, I want to go be a marketer and I'm going to go work in a media company as an intern. Like, I didn't go the traditional path. What led me here was my story. And now I have a different perspective. So I might share rooms and be in boardrooms with executives and CEOs and marketers, senior level marketers on the brand side or agency side. But my perspective and aperture is completely different. And I think it actually gives me an edge. And what you have is also an edge. Your story, right? Being able to come from nothing to something. You don't come through the traditional path. You've got to hustle and make certain things happen in order to get the look. And then when you get the look and you're in these spaces with these faces you've never been exposed to before, now your perspective is so different. You stand out in the room. And your perspective is worth millions. That transition is one That takes time, it takes strategy, it takes patience. But the truth is, corporate America needs more folks like us. If you look at advertising as a whole, this industry is made up of only 7% of black people. This is male and female, 7%. And of that 7%, I don't know the percentage, but it's such a small percent that's actually in executive positions, right? Director and higher. So there's so much opportunity in the business of media, digital media, content, production, this whole ecosystem, technology. It's all kind of tethered into one thing. But there's so much opportunity for us to thrive here. You just have to know it exists. If you don't know it exists, you're not gonna focus your efforts on trying to be in that space, let alone conquer that space. The space that I'm talking about right now, the space that I'm in. And there's two things happening. Multicultural audiences are on a trajectory to earn more and spend more, have more spending power over the next 6 to 10 years. All right? And on top of that, multicultural audiences, Black, Hispanic, Asian, anyone that's other than Caucasian, is set to be the majority by the year 2045. So the demographic of the country's changing. There's more money than ever flowing into the pockets of Black folks through means of entrepreneurship, being career professionals, whatever the case. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about how you're thinking about your life and where you want to take your story, what you want your journey to be. Because you could be right now on the block, you could be hustling, you could be one of those smart dudes that know that you're going to accomplish something, but you don't know exactly how. Consider the fact that the lane is wide open for you. If you just understand how to capitalize and how to use your story to propel you, how to parlay your wins and parlay your story into a much bigger outcome, much bigger journey. And I could show you how to do that. I want to. That's a part of my mission now. My mission is to get back and say, yo, listen, you got what it takes. Here's how you have to craft your mindset, the actions that you have to take to go from being just on the block, just somebody with an average job doing something in retail stores, but you know you're far more capable. How do you take your intelligence and your story and hustle your way to becoming someone in corporate America who influences and moves business, who becomes a mover, a shaker, a deal maker, if you will. You influence and move business. That's the goal. So that's what I'm here for. And I'm gonna keep dropping some more videos on how to exactly do this. And I think there's skills that everyone can grab something from. Doesn't matter who you are, whether you look like me or not. Skills about how to cultivate the right mindset, communicational skills you need to learn, what type of things you need to expose yourself to put yourself closer into these positions, to be an influencer and a deal maker in corporate America that moves business, right? Responsible for millions of revenue. You can be that. You just have to have the blueprint, have someone lay the tracks and show you exactly how to get there, give you a pathway. And that's what I'm here to do. So once again, it's KEVELUP. Like and subscribe, share this video. I'm gonna keep spreading a good word. Let's do it.